away. Live radar, first alert forecast, and more. Whether your skies are sunny or severe, you'll be ready with the free 1226 First Alert Weather app.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, First at 5.
This quiet neighborhood house erupting into chaos and confusion last night. A conflict turning into a showdown, leaving 3 people hurt and the shooter dead. Tonight, we're learning a deputy showed up to the home after a suspicious person call. That deputy and 3 other people went to the backyard to see if the shooter was out there. Deputies say once the group walked in, the shooter opened fire on all of them. The person who lived there and the deputy both fired back but missed the shooter. Investigators say he died later from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Deputies tell us it happened at the Halifax North subdivision in Evans, and that's right on Fairfield Way, just a couple of blocks from Evans to Locks Road. 3 victims were shot and injured and taken to a hospital. They are expected to be okay. The deputy was not shot, and coming up in less than half an hour from now, we're going to take you live to that subdivision where neighbors are still shaken up about what happened there last night.
Tensions are high in Richmond County and across the state over the redistricting process. After months of meetings, local leaders sent new maps to state lawmakers. Those state lawmakers cast out the proposed maps in favor of ones they drew themselves. Now, those maps are the ones sitting on Governor Kemp's desk.
So Richmond County has 8 districts. Where you live determines what district you're in, and what district you're in determines a lot of things, from where your child goes to school to who you're voting for. What happens when these lines change? Well, some people might not notice a thing, but our Celeste Springer breaks down an aspect of these maps passed by state lawmakers that some members of the community say dilutes the black vote.
Absolutely, Richard. So in the maps drafted by a local ad hoc committee, Precinct 309 is in the Jimmy Dias Parkway and Wrightsboro Road area. It contains the Elderberry neighborhood and many others. It was in District 3, which you can see that neighborhood and District 3 right there in those local draft maps. But the map sponsored by Senators Max Burns, Lee Anderson, and Representative Mark Newton moved Precinct 309 and place it here. That ends up being in District 5. But here's where some neighbors say the power of their vote may be getting played with. It's known as packing, essentially putting all the voters of one sort of demographic all into the same district so their votes can't swing elections elsewhere. As it stands, Precinct 309 is majority black, and the proposed maps through state lawmakers will move them into an already majority black district.
After 4 public meetings were held, and the concerns of the citizens were heard, the ad hoc committee decided unanimously to approve a map that showed the least amount of change in what best represented the population of Augusta-Richmond County. Republican Senator Max Burns took the map, balled it up, and threw it in the trash can.
There was a lot of back and forth at that press conference today between neighbors and one commissioner. Coming up in the next hour, I'll be breaking down what exactly happened.
All right, thanks for that, Celeste. It is a debate that is not limited to Richmond County. Gwinnett County and Cobb County are also experiencing similar pushback between local and state leaders.
Time now for a check of the weather as we give you a live look outside and check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. And Riley, we're taking a look at University Hospital, the old logo coming down, a new logo going up. We're going to be talking more about that transition, which happens, by the way, on March 1st as University switches over to Piedmont Healthcare. But Riley, a nice afternoon out there, no complaints whatsoever. Feels like springtime.
It does get some better rain chances by the weekend in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Riley. First at 5, we're learning someone's been killed in a car crash. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office tells us it happened around 2 o'clock near the intersection of Jimmy Dias Parkway and I-20. Witnesses say the crash involved a motorcycle. It blocked lanes of Jimmy Dias.
Richmond County deputies arresting a suspect in a shooting that left a young man dead in the middle of an Augusta road. Investigators say Marquise Leverett is charged with murder now. 19-year-old John Rick Oliphant was found dead in the roadway on Stone Road back on the 28th of January. Authorities previously identified Leverett as a suspect in that case.
Travel nurses were a lifeline for hospitals during the height of the COVID pandemic. They helped ease the burden on understaffed and overwhelmed hospitals.
But as Lisa Lucas reports, 2 years into the pandemic, the rising cost is having a ripple effect.
I often wonder, where have all the nurses gone?
That's the question Jody Leonard, a nurse with nearly 25 years experience, finds herself asking.
Most hospitals are doing what they have to do to get staff because without nurses, the hospital can't function.
It used to be a short-term fix. Hospitals turning to travel nurses, contracted positions used to fill gaps when needed. During the pandemic, many nurses picked up their lives to care for patients on the front lines. But with burnout, turnover, and nurses retiring, staffing challenges continued, and so did the need for travelers. Pat Horton with the Georgia Center for Nursing Excellence explains.
The challenge with that is the cost of travel nurses. That has become exorbitant and it's not sustainable.
What's happening is that the staff nurses are seeing the nurses around them are making 2 and 3 times what they're making, and it's very frustrating.
Job postings in Georgia show a travel nurse could make more than $4,000 a week. 11 Alive reached out to local hospitals for perspective. Emory Healthcare says they're seeing contract nurses being used 5 times more often compared to pre-pandemic. Piedmont Healthcare says they're paying contract agencies an increase of more than 200%. According to the American Staffing Association, the issue comes down to supply and demand. With fewer nurses available, the group says staffing agencies have offered higher pay to retain travel nurses, which drives up cost of services. The pay plus flexibility enticing more nurses in permanent positions to consider travel gigs.
The pay has risen so high, many nurses have also chosen to go and travel, which you can't blame them.
And that includes Jody.
It was a tough decision for me because I've been there for 6 years, and it's been my second home.
There is a Georgia Nursing Workforce Summit coming up next month. That will bring together industry, academic, and business leaders with a goal of coming up with short-term and long-term solutions to the staffing crisis. Big changes for a local business. 18 years later, the Book Tavern is making a move. How you can still get your fix after the break.
And we have set a record high for this afternoon. We're likely going to do it again tomorrow and Friday. We'll have a look at that full forecast coming up.
Time and temp. Lincoln.com.
My career is focused on helping the injured because I can relate to that. I don't just sympathize. I know how all it takes is a single second to change your entire life. Being an attorney isn't just a job for me, it's who I am. My name is Fatima Zaidan, and I'm an attorney at the Eichholz Law Firm. I get it. I've been there, and I'm dedicated to fighting for you.
You're invited to attend the Augusta Metro. A sign of the times at Kentucky's Churchill Downs. The sign showing Medina Spirit as the winner of the 147th Kentucky Derby coming down. The Kentucky Racing Commission disqualified the horse Monday after testing positive for a steroid banned on race day. Medina Spirit died in December after a workout.
Your new winner of the Derby, Mandaloon, now recognized as the winner of the 2021 Kentucky Derby, giving the hometown trainer Brad Cox his first Derby victory. The horse's owners will now get the $1.8 million prize. But what about all those bettors? You know, they bet at the track these days. They have for years. Well, State Law in Kentucky says they don't change a payout after the fact. So a lot of bettors are going to be a little upset about this whole news because think the one who put a pile of money on the eventual Kentucky Derby winner.
That is very tricky because, I mean, the race has already happened. I mean, how do you kind of pay out all those bets that have already happened?
State law says it's all sealed up. When the bell ring, it's all over. So
yeah,
that's it.
I think that's the best way to do it. Just kind of hard luck for all those other people. But, yeah, very interesting way to crown a winner there for the Kentucky Derby. All right, for us, it is feeling like spring. And by Sunday, rain does look likely during the day, so plan accordingly for those weekend plans.
Will do, Riley. Thanks. A longtime Augusta bookstore getting a new location, but they will still be downtown. The Book Tavern has been in the J.B. White's building for 9 years now, but they're heading to 978 Broad Street, right down the block, just right next door to Nacho Mama's. Owners say the new space provides the opportunity to expand their selection of books and other things like stationery and puzzles and games. They're closing the current location March 15th. They will reopen in the new spot on the 25th.
That's a lot of books to move between now and then. Complaints of online ads for used cars at one price, but customers paying thousands of dollars more. Next, we speak with experts about what you need to know so you don't fall victim to predatory pricing.
The Live by Camera Network.
Buying a new car is a big step, but factoring the pandemic and everything gets a little more.
999-9999.
Buying a new car is a big step, but factoring the pandemic and everything gets a little more complicated. While most dealerships advertise the price you'll pay, our national investigative team found customers had sticker shock when they got home and spotted a change in the price after signing here on the dotted line. Investigate TV's Sandra Jones takes a closer look at what's predatory pricing.
It is a really important purchase, often the second most expensive after a house.
I decided to go in and talk some numbers.
Do you remember what the price was of the car?
Yes, the advertised price of the car was $15,900.
They see an advertised price, they assume that's the price that the dealership is using.
All of these consumers we met through their Connecticut-based attorneys say they experienced a similar situation at used car dealerships. The advertised base price they found online was more than the cash amount.
I was very upset.
The car Karen Hubble drove off the lot with, a 2015 Jetta. The ad shows the car would be around $11,000, but when she signed, her cash price was $15,000, a $4,000 difference. Gerardo Velasquez showed up to a dealership with this ad for a Nissan Rogue. The price, $21,000. He ended up spending $24,000.
It was way too much money.
Michelle Gagnon had a smaller jump, about $700, but she said it had a big impact.
It made me feel very angry. I had literally depleted my savings account.
Consumer law attorney Daniel Blinn is representing all three buyers in legal action.
Once it becomes less profitable to rip people off, that's when they'll stop doing it.
And this type of practice is happening in Connecticut and across the country. We reviewed motor vehicle complaints reported to attorneys' general offices from several states in the last couple of years to see just how bad the problem is. One buyer in Texas said a truck price shot up from $30,000 to $38,000. A South Carolina buyer reported false advertising, went to purchase the truck, and the price was higher than advertised. Federal law prohibits any service provider like dealerships from misleading consumers. It's stated under the Unfair or Deceptive Acts or Practices. While some states are enforcing federal regulation through fines and penalties, others aren't.
The laws in most states provide that if a car dealership advertises a car for a certain price, they have to sell it for that price.
We reached out multiple times to the car dealership industry. The National Automobile Dealers Association had no response. The National Association of Dealer Counsel responded through email stating the NADC does not do interviews on these matters. And AutoNation did not respond to our request for comment. Sally Greenberg with the National Consumers League says consumers have to pump the brakes before buying.
Any vehicle purchase requires a healthy amount of skepticism about the trustworthiness of the dealership, no matter how nice they are.
If you think you're being overcharged for a vehicle, experts say the laws in most states allow you to take legal action against car dealerships to recover damages. You could also file a complaint with your state attorney general or consumer protection agency.
Good to know, so do your homework. The family of a Georgia couple who died in an Amtrak trail derailment last fall is seeking damages for the couple's pain and suffering and for the loss. The family of Donald and Marjorie Wrdw filing a wrongful death lawsuit against Amtrak and the railway company. The suit says the companies failed to make sure all the equipment operated safely. It all happened in Montana when the Glenn County company was on a trip. The Glenn County couple, was on a trip celebrating their 50th anniversary.
A boiler explosion at a potato chip plant in Oregon causes a massive fire that sent workers scrambling for safety. This happened early yesterday afternoon about 200 miles east of Portland. One worker says it felt like a tornado tore through the warehouse before the roof collapsed and everyone was able to get out. A nearby hospital says it's treated 7 injured workers and all are expected to be okay. People who live nearby have been warned they might have to evacuate because of this thick smoke still in the area.
South Carolina drivers could be hit with a ticket if their hands are on their phone while they're behind the wheel. Under legislation advanced today by the state Senate. Now the hands-free driving bill will head over to the House of Representatives for its consideration. State House reporter Mary Green joins us now live in Columbia after following today's debate at the Capitol. And Mary, what's different between this bill and the law the state already has banning texting and driving? Well, Meredith, this hands-free driving bill would go beyond the state's current law. It would prohibit drivers in South Carolina from even holding or supporting their cell phones or other mobile electronic devices while they're behind the wheel unless they're parked or stopped.
It's a trooper. A lot of times we see vehicles that's all over the road. We see collisions, we see crashes. We stop motorists who we believe are drunk and come to find out they're too busy looking at their phone.
Under the Hands-Free Act, drivers could get a ticket for holding a phone or being on their phone in general while they're driving, including texting, emailing, reading a message, or surfing the web. It would also ban drivers from watching a video, game, or video call while they're operating a vehicle, even if they physically aren't holding the phone or device.
When you're driving a 6,000-pound vehicle, you need both hands on the wheel. You need to pay attention to your surroundings. You need to watch out and drive defensively for other drivers.
For the first offense, drivers would receive a $100 ticket. Then for each offense after that, they'd get hit with a $200 ticket, plus 2 points on their record. This would not apply if drivers are parked or stopped, including at a red light. Christian Turner says he sees drivers on their phones just about every day he rides his motorcycle.
I've been hit off my bike for someone being on their phone.
He has mixed feelings on the bill.
It would be a good law to have, but no one's going to follow it.
About half of states already have a hands-free driving law. The lead sponsor of South Carolina's bill says data from those states shows legislation like this will change outcomes here as well.
And I'll be the first to tell you that this bill's not going to stop everybody from using their phone in a hands-free fashion. But what we will see is that there will be compliance by a large number of people, and that will reduce some number of accidents.
So if this bill does become law as it's currently written, there'd be a 90-day warning period once the law would go into effect before drivers would face any penalties. Reporting live from the South Carolina State House, Mary Green on your side. Thanks for that, Mary. Some senators said today they would like to see legislation that would also prevent drivers from eating, applying makeup, or doing other things that could take their focus off the road.
Well, this afternoon was officially the hottest afternoon on record for us here in Augusta. We did hit 84 degrees, which actually broke the previous record by 2 degrees. Now look at this record-setting temperatures just after the break.
Come on into Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. It's tax time, so when that refund comes in, it's the perfect time to get the furniture you've always wanted. For the brands you trust at the lowest prices, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
It's HamrickStone.com.
This is huge. Weinberger's Furniture and Mattress Showcase is turning 90 this year.
And that's a big deal. We've been serving generations of families just like yours with great products and even better service.
To celebrate, we are offering guaranteed lowest prices to all of our customers, special financing options, and plenty of in-stock furniture, rugs, and accessories. Can you celebrate 90 years with Weinberger's?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Come on into Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. It's tax time, so when that refund comes in, it's the perfect time to get the furniture you've always wanted. For the brands you trust at the lowest prices, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
Well, it's feeling like spring out there for us this afternoon.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. Aiken County schools are dropping COVID precautions as positive cases drop.
Every Sunday, Wrdw.